they were trying to get me to come to the to the conference, and I said it's gonna be people, and she was like, yes, thousand. And Cena said that's about 999 too many people, and he was absolutely correct. But they did offer to put me in a hazmat suit, which
Also,
I might
who has a
consider.
conference with 0 people? What kind of conference? What a terrible conference that would be.
That would be no. You need the people. But so how often? So when is the conference? Where's the conference, and how often do you have the conference?
So this is our 6th annual conference. We have it once a year. It's June 15th, 16th, and 17th. It is at Brooklyn Navy Yard, so right across the street from Wegmans, our beloved supermarket in the area. It is an event that we've been really hosting to educate and amplify the stories of Black women entrepreneurs. We have a day that's just focused on entrepreneurs and investors. We've got a day that's open to everyone. The entire community can learn about cryptocurrencies, NFTs, how to think about starting a business, how to think about getting into venture capital, a pitch competition. We've got officials from the city of New York. We've got Carla Harris from Morgan Stanley, Jewel Burks, head of Google for startups, also joining us. So lots and lots in store for this year's conference.
Okay. Now, you said crypto and NFTs. We were just talking about the crash and how Coinbase and others are laying folk off 18% of their workforce. I know, a lot of what happens in this country is about emotions. So even the stock market, it has nothing to do, like a company could be completely healthy and have its stock crash because there's a run right now and everyone's scared and they're pulling them and they're selling and they're, where are you guys on this crypto market?
I think for us, the crypto market is pretty much imitating the general market in terms of if there's nervousness or any hint of someone being risky, they take out the money right away, right? And I mean, you see a large amount of people on Binance and a lot of these other platforms literally stopping you from taking the money because it is trying to balance the market in a way. So, everything is it's very new actually. So it's just we just have to kind of wait and see, even though it's trying to be a decentralized actual opportunity. I don't think we're there yet with the technology, because if someone can stop you, then it's not exactly where we need to get to. But there's a ton of different options and opportunities for where that doesn't have to happen. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of go about it. But for us, it's if you are ready to be on that side of it where you have done your research and you're comfortable in that space, then take a position. We've seen a ton of people make money, it going down, it going up, right? It's the same type of opportunities that you see currently at the stock market today.
I'm wondering, that's like the financial instruments aspect of crypto, but this is Tech Tuesday. Can you guys speak to some of like the apps that are being built on the blockchain, or some of the software use cases that are maybe coming out of your conferences that are interesting that you'd be willing to share?
Sure.
And that's Asosa, for those of you who are listening. Asosa's talking right now.
Yes, sorry. Asosa Gadara here. So there's so many different types of blockchain technologies that are being built out. One of the interesting ones I saw for the blockchain, which for most people should know, it's a general ledger, right? And so it does favor things that you can track and measure in a big way, where everyone can see and see any kind of transaction in a big way. So a good one I saw was with publishing. So like, let's say you were in college and you see the professor always telling you, okay, get this, third generation of, let's say, accounting 101. So those authors always publish books every year because, they want to make more money and they need to attribute that only by republishing every year. But now there's a unique idea of like having authors actually publish on the blockchain, right? Because when they're publishing every year, they're not actually making many changes. They're just trying to make more money. So instead of doing that every year and wasting that effort, put it on the blockchain, and then it could just be tracked and attributed. And that not only in the first market when they purchase a textbook right away, but in the secondary market when it's purchased again and again, because it tracks every time it's purchased, and that exchange of royalty or money can also be attributed always to the first person. So it's a great way of tracking an opportunity on the blockchain, like with publishing and buying textbooks in the college market. So that's a good example I saw that was like a real use case that like, hey, every day that can actually work, right? There's so many universities and topics and discussions, of course, and that you have to have a textbook for. This works.
That is actually pretty brilliant. Sosa Ighodaro is here, and Regina Gwynn. They're the co-founders of Black Women Talk Tech. Regina, what was your entry point into tech?
Sure. So I am considered a not quote unquote non-technical founder. I don't have coding experience, didn't go to school for computer science or engineering, but I knew that I had $1 billion idea in hair care. So back in 2013, 2014, we saw on-demand technologies like Uber, FreshDirect, Handy start to really evolve and change the idea of how consumers interact with people coming to them, right? You push a button and a car comes to you. You push a button, your groceries come to you. You push a button, you know, a maid comes to you. So there's a lot of pain points in the Black women's hair care experience. And so part of that challenge is going to a salon, waiting all day for your stylist to, you know, get around to you, the appointment process, the availability of products and services that are unique to your specific hair and hairstyle needs. And so I said, well, I wonder if we could create an app where you can push a button and your stylist comes to you. And that was really the impetus behind creating Trust Noir, which was the first on-demand, on-location beauty booking app for women with textured hair. And so again, in 2013, 2014, this was quite some time ago. You know, we had seen other companies like Style Seat, Glam Squad, you know, start to emerge, but they really weren't focusing on the very unique needs of women of color. And so that was really the impetus behind, you know, launching the startup. We launched in Philly, we expanded to New York City, we were in Los Angeles, Washington, DC, Dallas, Chicago. So it's a great opportunity, but definitely faced a ton of challenges in scaling that business, finding access to capital, finding the right resources, finding the right technical talent. I can't tell you how many CTOs I went through trying to really find the right resources to build, you know, the app and build the technology that I had in my mind. And so when I met Asosa, that was really, you know, our story, you know, working on completely different startups, and yet our challenges were exactly the same. And so we said, if we are having these issues, I wonder if other women across the country are having these same issues, and boy, were they. And that was, again, what led us, both of us, to launch Black Women Talk Tech.
So what happened with the app, Regina? You abandoned it?
Yeah, so we ended up pivoting during the pandemic, for sure. You know, during the pandemic, stylists, you know, no stylist was willing to go into someone's home, let alone, you know, were people needing to get their hair done as much because they weren't going out, they weren't, you know, there weren't any special occasions. We did pivot to another kind of digital beauty coach that was leveraging AI, but again, just ran out of money, to be very honest. So, you know, we decided to put it on pause, you know, find other ways to leverage the technology in the future. And, you know, now, you know, focusing on Black Women Talk Tech definitely keeps my hands full.
So, did you have an app idea as well?
Well, I did have an app idea as well. So I started a company so long ago now. It's in 13, called Cosign. And what we were trying to do was to help you democratize affiliate marketing and allow us to actually solve the image recognition problem by incentivizing people to tag products within their images before sharing it to social media. And if someone purchased the item, we would give them a commission based on all the relationships we had. And so the reason why that worked really well for us is that we need almost billions of images tagged with the right information in order to allow the machine in the back to identify what the products were in the images, as well as being able to associate brand and also cost and all different types of things. So it was a very hairy problem. We try to raise money as well, try to build the right team. It was a challenge. It's the best way I could even position it. Finding the right people to work on that, finding enough money. We were one of the lucky ones to be able to raise 1.4 million, but we weren't able to raise enough to kind of grow and scale that company. If you could think, our next competitor raised about 100 million. So
Wow.
we were it was definitely a business that I thoroughly enjoyed. It took me around the world. I was able to, put my little stamp on the image recognition problem, but not quite there, being able to make that scalable jump that I hope to. What was $1 billion opportunity and idea, which we're trying to make sure we support.
Feel as if, and I'm grateful, I think it's 1 or 2%. We had Catherine Finney on last week. An amazing human being. She's got a new book. I feel, 1% of Black women, I think, are represented in tech, and that's a problem, but I also feel like tech itself is a problem, the industry. Not just that it's an old boys network or it's crony, it's crony people, friends giving money to friends, even if they have horrible ideas like that Theranos can raise, billions of dollars with no product. And, and I can probably rattle off a few others, Dan Gilbert. Anyway, I just feel like there's going to be a retraction. There was this, when I came up in the 90s in tech, there was always that next round of funding you were going for, and then there was a crash, so I came in right in the midst of like the market crashing, and it was devastating because I had a tech magazine, sports magazine, and it I got $1 million from Bear Stearns to run it, and that money was gone. Yeah, but websites cost like $250,000. It was like it was a completely different market, and now I feel like we're in another bubble. That's about, because that next round of funding is the promise, right? When I hear you talk about scaling up, the $1 billion idea, like how many $1 billion companies do we have? I mean, really? And at the end of the day, I feel like the emperor has no clothes, and we're seeing that play out. Instead of, my father had a grocery store for 18 years that put me and my brother through college and was amazing. But he worked his, fingers to the bones to provide. But that was a tangible thing. It was a grocery store. You had milk and bread and meat, and we knew what that was. You get paid for it. People need to eat. Tech is not something we all need. Are we reimagining what tech is for the future? And if so, what does that look like to you two? Let's go to Esosa first.
So I would challenge that statement that we don't need tech. We're on a tech platform right now. Like you need tech right now because you don't want to come to our conference. So like I would say that
let's go.
Sata. Yes.
I was like, technology is inevitable. Like it's in every facet of our human existence right now.
All right. Let me, and maybe I was inarticulate. When I hear, about that scaling up, right? So this is serviceable. We have people who subscribe to radio. They like it. They pay money every month. Their subscriptions, what that looks like. Yes, you're absolutely right. But there's a lot of companies where they're almost forcing you to go outside of what makes good, common damn sense. Like I felt like when I got $1 million from Bear Stearns, the things they were telling me to do didn't make any sense to me, but I felt compelled to do them because they gave me the money. But I knew better, and I feel like to build something slow and strong and broad, and that's going to be here forever. Like your idea, was amazing, both of you. But Regina, yes. And if not for a pandemic, I could see that. But the force to be, to scale up and to be in all of these markets instead of like just killing it in Philly and just, and you could live off of Philly. You could live off of Philly. You could live off of Newark. You could probably, you know what I'm saying? One city and just but because you had an investor or somebody's giving you money, you're forced to scale up. That's what I'm talking about. Not that we don't need tech. I'm saying
Okay.
the way in which tech operates right now, I feel is counterproductive.
Got it.
Okay.
So that speaks to the financing versus the technology product itself.
Exactly.
And so to your point, if that's the case, absolutely. Venture capital is so sexy, right? Everyone talks about getting venture capital funding to, in fact, scale your business. It is actually some of the most expensive capital to get. And so you are literally saying you will not own your business, at the end of the day, because when you get on a venture capital track, you are in fact, pushed, forced, told that you're going to raise another round, you're going to raise another round, you're going to raise another round. And with every round, you lose your equity to the point that you end up, with little to none. But is it better to have 10% of $1 billion business or 100% of $1 million business? That's an ongoing conversation that you have to know as a founder. What do you want, and what do you want to get out of building this company? One of the things that I think is super important to me as an entrepreneur is that I like creating things. I like ideas. I don't want to necessarily be beholden to one idea. The beautiful part of being a serial entrepreneur like Asosa and I is that we can start something, and guess what? We can start something else, and guess what? We can start something else too, and they can all be profitable. So, this idea of only doing one thing for the beautiful part about technology is that it allows us to test. It allows us to get data. It allows us to tell us, what, this is working. And it also says, what, it's not working. But I definitely think it's two different conversations, definitely correlated around finance. And so, this access to capital is huge. It is something that we talk about all the time, whether it's at a conference or not. Like, we have to have the financing and funding conversation with loans. Hell, Black people haven't gotten loans, let alone venture capital. Wells Fargo was in the news, 50% of their mortgages weren't approved. Yeah. Like, this has been going on since the beginning of time.
Right.
So we have to continue to be creative around how we fund our businesses such that it allows us to maintain equity, it allows us to maintain ownership while still being able to scale. The beautiful part about venture is that you can get $100 million, right? You can close a $50 million, $150 million Series A round. $150 million to scale your business is a whole lot better than $50,000 to scale your business. And yes. So there's pros and cons to that for sure.
And just to add to that, like, you have to be right for a VC backable business, right? Like, that's not right for every business.
Most businesses.
Like, majority of the businesses should not go after VC. And it's such a small percentage of all financing that exists that, it just works out that way. But the overall general idea too with VC is that once you take it, you normally, with most businesses, you have 11 exit strategies you can take on. But once you take on the VC track, that reduces to 4. And if you really know exactly what you want at the end of the day, how you want to realize your return as a business owner, that's what's going to make the difference for you in terms of identifying what type of financing options you want. And there's a ton available. You can raise $100 million through VC. You can also do that through private equity. There's several different ways of raising money, but it doesn't matter the stage of business you are and, how fast you want to go. Because you raise a VC, you need to be fast, done in 7 years or less.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, it's not a game, right? So,
and it to me, it's for those of us who are super creative, it doesn't leave room for you. You're so on that treadmill that you're not bringing all your melanated goodness into creating the next whatever. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So what day is that conversation had at the conference? The money conversation. What day is that?
Well, we talk about getting into venture, like how to break into venture. So you do know the pros and cons. That happens on Thursday, June 16th.
That's tomorrow. No, Thursday. What day is this? I don't know what day this is. All right, today's Tuesday.
Today is the 14th. So tomorrow we kick off with our pajama jammy jam. That's our fun. Girls just want to have fun, old school pajama jam. But then, so Thursdays when we get into the work, we get into alternative methods to fundraising. We talk about the founder journey. There are women who've raised tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and we will have them on our stage talking about the real challenges that they faced in making that happen, but it did happen. And we need to see that. There are billion-dollar companies run by Black people, okay?
Right. And Black women.
And Black women in particular.
Wow.
So, Calendly, if anyone's familiar with Calendly, the calendar scheduling is run by a Black man. $3 billion
founded
company
by a Black man as well. So not just placed CEO.
Ideated by, for sure. So, we've never seen this many unicorns, run by Black women and Black men in our lifetime. So there is definitely changing happening.
All right. So I love that. We're actually doing a Black Wealth series, The Road to Freedom. We're kicking off, we're taping our first on Friday with Psyche Terry. So, we're going to be talking with her, and then we got Don Peebles, and I'm going to connect with you guys to get more names, because, if we don't see a thing, we can't be a thing. So we need to know that there are people out there doing all of the goodness. And June 15th, which is tomorrow, 16th, which is Thursday, and 17th, which is Friday. I think Cena's going to crash your pajama party on the 15th, but I think it's all women. So if you see a furry person show up, you got a Cena. All right, 15, 16, 17th. If you're in Brooklyn, you can show. Is there a virtual version that people can come to?
Yes.
Okay. So where can they go?
Register at roadmaptobillions.co. That's roadmap billions with an S.co, and hit us up on Black Women Talk Tech on Instagram, where we're there, we're responsive. Any questions that you have, come through, register on site. You can register online. We are here to have a good time, uplift, as well as, like I said, let's make some money. The best way to support a Black woman entrepreneur is to cut her a check.